Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it comes from a translation of a narration. So after I had received this WhatsApp voice note that was sent to me by our dear sister, we then had to type it down so that we can give you this translation. So this is the narration of that WhatsApp voice note that I received. The translation reads like this. Hello, my brother, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My brother, I am a woman that is always filled with regret. So many times when I look at my husband, I always blame him because of the things that he forces me to do. But there are times when I feel so sorry for him because I have to help him out so that he can keep this covenant that he did with the devil. And I blame poverty. Poverty was the reason as to why he ended up looking for a traditional healer who ended up making him to do that covenant with his shrine. But still, I am a woman that is living in regret, and I do not have anyone that I can share this story with. For many, many years, since I have been living in this regret, this has caused me to go through a period of depression. I am a woman that is rich, but at the same time, I have no happiness whatsoever in my own life. Material things will never give you happiness. They can only give you depression. Speaking of the material things that we have and the wealth that we have, all of the wealth that we have, they are just fake. So at that time when my husband did this covenant, after that traditional healer had made my husband to swear whilst he was holding a horn that was used by that traditional healer at his shrine, he was then given a tokoloshes. This tokoloshes, it is in form of an animal called a tortoise. At that time, it was quite a very small tortoise that could actually fit in the palm of his hand. But now this tokoloshes has grown to be so big. It is now a very big tortoise. So this tortoise, what it does is that it can perform sort of like an illusion. Like when I go out with a beautiful car, people will think that maybe I am actually driving a very beautiful car, but I'll be riding inside that tortoise body or on top of that tortoise whilst it will be carrying me. That is the illusion that our tokoloshes performs. When I go out to buy something, this tokoloshes, once I have arrived at that place, it can transform itself and create the illusion of money, and I can buy whatever I want at that time. This life, it sounds as if it is fun, but it is filled with depression, because of the things that we do each and every time when we are making love. That is part of the conditions that my husband has to do so as to keep that covenant. There is no happiness at all in our life. My husband, he used to be a gardener. My husband, when he was working as a gardener, his salary that he was earning, it was just peanuts. He was not making a lot of money. Then my husband, one day, he came back home and he told me that, my wife, I have gotten a new opportunity and it is time for us to move out. I do not want to work here anymore. I tried to reason with him when he was busy insulting his boss, when he told his boss that he didn't want to work for him anymore. My boss, he loved my husband so much. He begged my husband for him not to go. I still remember that when we were busy packing our clothes after this other car that we had hired that was supposed to carry all of our belongings, it came. My boss was just standing there with his kids and his wife as he begged for my husband not to go. He said, tell me whatever you want. Do you want me to increase your salary? My husband then said to me, I can never accept that offer because this man, once he has increased my salary, he is going to work me out as if I am a slave. I am not a slave. I do not want to work as a slave. And my husband had been given this great promise of a better opportunity. That is why we ended up leaving that place where my husband was working as a gardener. And when we started working at that place where my husband was now working, things changed. For a moment, we actually thanked God for everything that he had done in my husband's life. And the things that started happening was that I found out that my husband was now working and there was no clear working schedule. My husband would work around the clock. My boss, the boss that my husband was now working for, he had a decor and catering company, so they were always busy. There was no knock off time. Sometimes the boss will come and knock at our door and to wake my husband up so that they can go to work. And as for me, my husband's boss said that since I was staying with my husband, I had to work so as to make sure that I can help him out. And at that time, I used to work in the garden as well, because these people, what they were saying is that they didn't want to eat food that had GMOs, so they used to plant their own vegetables. It was hard work. When my husband saw that I was being used without pay, and as for him, he was working like a clock 24/7 without any rest at all, my husband then went and he confronted his boss. He then asked his boss and he said, am I like a clock to you that works 24/7 without rest? When do I rest? When do I start work? And when do I knock off? And when my husband confronted his boss and the way that he spoke with his boss, it was not nice. That was when our boss started treating us in a very bad way. So at this place, when we had started staying there, they seemed to be very nice people. They had actually told my husband that they wanted him to have a driver's license so that my husband can drive around with the boss's car. But things quickly changed. They had given us this other deep fridge. What they would do is that they would go out there, then they would buy some chicken, and these were like a lot of chickens. After slaughtering them, then some of the chicken they would give us, then we would pack them in our own deep fridge, the one that they had given us. But when my husband had confronted his boss then said that we were supposed to return back the fridge into their main house. This we did, my brother, and when we did this with a lot of meat that was inside that fridge, it was quite heavy. That was when I saw that being poor is actually a sin in the eyes of the Lord. We just had to become rich. And my brother, we were being paid only when our boss felt like it. As for me, I was not even being paid. It was my husband. Sometimes we could work the whole month without receiving our salaries. We would be paid like on the next month, on the 15th, or maybe on the 30th of the next month. Then one day, me and my husband, we were inside our small cottage, the one that we used to stay at the time when we were staying at that place. That was when one of my boss's child came and knocked, and he said that your father had told to tell us that we were supposed to pack out all of our belongings because we were fired. We were fired by our boss's child, and when they decided to kick us out of their house, it was during the raining season. They told us to pack all of our items and to get out of their yard, and this is what we did. For days, my brother, they would get out of their yard driving their cars, and they would look at us and they would not sleep and they would not speak with us. We were just sleeping on the open, and we were afraid that once it had started raining, then all of our property was going to get damaged. My husband, one day he came back and he said that, my wife, this is what I have decided. I have been going around trying to look for a job, but there is no luck at all. So I want us to go to a traditional healer. He had already heard about this traditional healer that could actually give him a lucky charm oil, so that by the time that he will be going around looking for a job, it will be quite easy for him to get a job, since you will be using this lucky charm oil. So me and him and our kids, we then went there. We went to that traditional healer. Whilst we were in that traditional healer's shrine, then that traditional healer told my husband that there was an oath that he was supposed to swear to. There was a covenant that was supposed to be created between his shrine and my husband. My husband agreed because he was such a desperate man. So that traditional healer then took one of his horn and he said that I want you to hold this horn, and once you have gotten hold of this horn, I want you to swear on your entire generation that you are going to abide by the rules of this covenant until Jesus Christ comes. And if you fail to do so, if it happens that these charms that I have given to you, if they come back to me and if they say that, look, that person that you sent us to has failed to keep that covenant, so what are we supposed to do? Then this horn, even if it means that by the time that this thing will happen, I will have died, but this horn will always be here, and this horn is going to be the witness on that day, and it is going to tell these charms that I am giving you to return back to your generation, and failing to do so, it is going to bring a generational curse upon your generation until Jesus Christ comes back. This was the covenant that my husband has to abide by, and he was asked by that traditional healer if he was being forced to commit to this covenant. As he was holding that horn, he said, am I forcing you, yes or no? When my husband said no, I then said that this is wrong. You cannot sacrifice your entire generation so that in this generation we can be happy. I tried to stop my husband from sacrificing his entire bloodline, but that traditional healer then rebuked me. As he was rebuked me, he said that, you woman, what are you trying to do? Because in my shrine, no woman is allowed to speak. Only men, he said, that can speak in his shrine. So my husband went ahead and he said that he was going to keep that covenant, and if he was going to fail to keep that covenant on that day, then these charms, they are going to be sort of like a generational curse for his entire bloodline until Jesus Christ comes back. So from that day onwards, my brother, we have been keeping this covenant on a daily basis. As for my husband, he was given a small tortoise. So what we do is that when we sleep together, we only sleep together at night. In the evening, that is when we sleep together. After sleeping with my husband, if we would have done it on top of the bed, then what I do is that I will get off from the bed, then I'll kneel down. Sometimes I can actually squat, so that when I will be squatting or kneeling down like that, I'll start pushing his seed that he would have left inside my body. And as I'll be pushing it as if I am actually delivering a baby. So in between my legs, I take this other plate. This plate, it is usually used by people that go to the White Garment Church. I place it between my legs, then I'll start pushing his seed out of me. And after that, we then go back to bed. And we were told that when we would be performing these rituals, soon after performing this ritual, we are supposed to switch off all the lights in the house. So my husband then said that we needed to make sure that the electrical box, like the main electrical box to our house, is in our bedroom, so as to make sure that our house doesn't have any light, and to make sure that our kids will never make that mistake of switching on the lights after we would have performed this ritual. So he made sure that the main electrical box is in our bedroom. Soon after making love to me, my husband will switch off the main electrical plugs so that the house will not have any power at all. We were given a small candle. This candle, my brother, it is 7 years now, and it has lasted for 7 years. This candle, it is usually sold in the shops. It is a nice smelling candle, and this candle, when it was given to us, we were told that soon after making sure that there is no electrical lighting in our house, then we light this candle, and we light it throughout the night, and we use it only on the night of us performing this ritual. And when we have finished performing the ritual, usually we can actually hear that our tortoise that stays in our big garage, it will start like crawling from the garage coming upstairs, because me and my husband, our bedroom, it is upstairs. We can actually hear this big tortoise as it will be going up the stairs coming into our bedroom. as for this tortoise, like in that big garage of ours, we created this other partition whereby we made a room in that garage where this tokoloshe of ours in form of a tortoise stays. And as for my husband, he is the one who keeps the keys to that small room where this tokoloshe stays, and all the times the keys to that room, it is always by his side. So in that big garage of ours, at a time 10 cars can fit, but the way that these 10 cars can fit, it will be one in front, one at the back. That is where our tokoloshe stays. So once it would have entered into our bedroom, this tokoloshe, it will start eating my husband's sperms, the one that I would have forced out of my body soon after sleeping with him. As for our business, my brother, it is all fake. I feel so sorry for our workers, because once you have started working for us, even if we give you lot of money, there is nothing that you are going to do with that money, because the money is not even real. It is just an illusion. It pains me a lot, my brother, but when I think of my kids, when I think of our future grandchildren, I just see that it is far much better that we keep this covenant. As difficult as it is, we still have to do it. So the other rule is that after we would have slept together, me and my husband, no matter what, we are not supposed to make love twice after performing this ritual. So what we do is that my husband, he would take his clothes, usually he take his jean trousers, so as to make sure that nothing can happen between us. He would take his clothes and I would take my clothes, then we will wear our normal clothes, then we will go to bed. We have been performing these rituals for years and years, but there is no happiness, even though we have a lot of money. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our dear sister. Then we had to give you this translation. Indeed, strange things do happen in this world.